Howdy. Before I present my TED Talk, I'd love to ask the audience some questions. Although the questions may be difficult to answer, I encourage that you be with me in the moment and simply raise your hand if those questions apply to you. Have you ever experienced pain from the loss of a loved one? Have you ever experienced pain from an injury that kept you from doing something you loved? Have you experienced pain from losing yourself in your own battle? Have you ever experienced pain from an extremely difficult situation that left you completely powerless? As I look around, the common denominator is pain. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and recognizing your pain. Now I'd like to share my story. It begins in Port Arthur, a small refinery town located on the Texas Gulf Coast. My parents fled Vietnam in 1975 in hopes for a better life, arriving first in Minnesota, which was decidedly too cold. Some of my parents' friends persuaded them to come to Port Arthur, which they found hospitable. In 2001, my life was completely turned upside down. What began as a spontaneous night out with friends ended up to be a nightmare I could not wake up from. It was dark and drizzling, and I was at the wheel. A car hydroplaned on the wet street near us, which caused me to react and lose control of the wheel. After the car flipped several times, my body was then ejected from the windshield. And when I landed, a piece of the car severed my arm completely in an instant. The last thing I remembered was laying on a wet ground, the bright light above me. I realized there was something terribly wrong by the sounds of people screaming and sobbing around me. That was supposed to be my most painful moment in life, but ironically, I couldn't feel a thing. I couldn't feel anything. I couldn't speak. I couldn't scream. I couldn't move. I was completely numb. I was living in a magical time. At the age of 22, I was starting to appreciate my looks, starting to understand myself and the woman I was becoming. All of those positive thoughts quickly diminished during that tragic accident. Who would have thought in a million years that would be the age I would have my dominant arm amputated? I was in so much pain physically, mentally, and emotionally. And there are many times where I just wanted to end my life. The pain was unbearable. The pain was unmanageable. So many thoughts ran through my mind. How could I go on? Why would I want to go on looking the way I did? I never knew this pain existed. Would this pain ever go away? I experienced sadness, depression, shame, and fear. And these emotions ate at me day in and day out, and it was extremely exhausting. I was at the darkest time of my entire life. There was nothing anyone could say or do to help me. I felt alone. I felt like I was in this all by myself. How could I find any peace in a world full of pain? I was truly at my lowest points in life. I was incredibly miserable, and I had completely lost hope. The very valuable lesson I learned in the middle of my unhappiness was how important it was to recognize and confront my pain in order to move forward. This was going to be one of the most difficult things I ever had to do in life, but I knew I needed to face my demons head on. Being truthful with myself, letting myself feel the bitterness, the resentment, the anger, the heartache, and the helplessness was an uphill battle I wasn't sure if I was ready to take on. Regardless the support I had from family and friends, I felt alone in my pain. I tended to push everyone away from me because I felt like they didn't understand what I was going through. This was something I needed to figure out on my own. I was living in a place where tears constantly flowed, and the image of me with both arms was only a figment of my imagination. I was in a place where only pain and suffering existed. The self-medicating I turned to led me down a darker path and only made my pain worse. Recognizing and confronting my pain led me to embrace my pain, something I didn't even believe be possible. I stopped trying to avoid the pain, let it wash over me, allowing me to fully feel the awful thing that happened to me. I was finally able to open up and share the depth of my pain and despair with those in my life. Avoiding my pain was something I no longer wanted to do. This, surprisingly enough, led to growth. There are many gradient shapes of pain, and sadly, I experienced most of them during the loss of my arm. The pain I experienced has helped me become stronger in ways I've never imagined. Dealing with my pain has given me a completely different perspective. Gratitude now fills my life, and I love the people around me harder than I ever have. Since emotional pain cannot always be seen, it can often be dismissed as being less serious than physical pain. I learned that emotional pain can be as crippling as physical pain. I've learned that emotional pain often impacts our lives far more than physical pain does, and I can attest to that. I was experiencing both physical and emotional pain, and that combination was hell on earth. Some experiences I had during that time proved to me that emotional pain can cause longer lasting damage to our lives. My emotional state was weakening. The deep emotional pain was slowly taking over my life. I was at war against myself and losing. I was clearly being defeated by a world full of pain. Sadness is a deadly poison, and it was killing me slowly. After many sleepless nights of continuing to blame myself and other nights where I would cry myself to sleep, I did a lot of soul searching. I realized that I was reaching a turning point. I started to believe in every fiber of my being that I needed to let go of my past and accept my new reality in order to have a chance of being able to move forward. I had to have a major breakdown in order to have a major breakthrough. What I now know is that looking at our reality with complete openness and total self-honesty enables us to accept it without letting it define who we are. It may seem terribly difficult to accept, that we are not our struggles, nor our tears, nor our heartbreak. We are not the actions we've taken or the pain we've endured. Yes, I believe our experiences influence how we grow and who we grow into as life continues, but ultimately, who we are is truly who we decide to be because of and despite everything we've been through. We choose to be who we want to be, whether it is to be bitter or to be better. Our power lives in choice, our choice. We can choose to face our pain without self-judgment, without allowing it to destroy us and completely preventing us from growing. If we choose to, we must commit to loving ourselves unconditionally through the storms as well as the sunshines of life, as much as humanly possible. We must commit to loving ourselves. No limitations, no criticism. Essentially, self-love becomes something radiant, more beautiful than you can possibly imagine. This is how we create a safe place inside ourselves to heal and to be better. Creating joy from within is crucial in order to living a happier life. I've learned to look for unexpected ways to bring joy to others in simple ways every chance I get. I find joy in being able to do things on my own without asking, "Hey, can you give me a hand?" I realize that giving to others brings me great joy as well. Today, I'm compelled to help others turn their adversities into their advantage. I continue to draw strength from helping others recognize their own strengths. My mission in life is to help others become better, not bitter. And doing just that has become my way of living my best life. It has been another avenue of self-healing as well. Yes, pain can change people, but that doesn't mean it has to be a bad change. Allow it to change you for the better. Although the pain doesn't completely go away, it does get easier to deal with because you get stronger. Healing doesn't mean the pain never existed. It means the pain no longer controls your life. I've learned to transform my pain into power, my struggles into strength, and my gradients into radiance, and so can you. It is often said that difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations, and I couldn't agree more. So now the question is, what in your life needs healing? Although it may not be the same type of pain I've suffered, your pain is extremely relevant. Could it be the loss of a loved one? Or perhaps losing yourself in your own battle? Or that pain from the injury that prevented you from doing something you love? Whatever it may be, let the healing begin. Thank you, guys.